to my channel. My name is Cassie, also known as KnittaCass, and this is my channel where I talk about the things that I'm knitting, the patterns that I'm interested in knitting, the things that are going on my farm, a little bit of some family life, and a spice of mental health. So grab your favorite project, whatever you want to drink, and come join me. My beginning is a little bit different than normal. I had podcasted the entire podcast earlier today, and I'm sitting here editing in my bed. I have my Madeline doll, my Salem cat, my dream catcher, and my two Yodas. Actually, they're not Yoda, they're Grogu? I think it's Grogu. Anyways, and the first 10 minutes and my intro is completely gone, and I don't feel like putting more makeup on and looking more presentable to start this, so bear with the beginning, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this podcast. Thank you. Okay, it's me again. I think that I'm going to call this episode the Hot Mess Express because I'm just a hot mess. Apparently, not only did it, somehow I lost the intro, but I lost the entire finished object section. Luckily, it wasn't a lot, but the video I have starts in the middle of a conversation. So I'm going to try to fill in that gap right now. So for finished objects, I only have two. The first one is a pair of socks for my nephew. That's pretty true to color. So it is my first toe-up sock, and it is a German short roll heel. It's a little bit longer than an ankle sock, maybe about an ankle sock. I had originally started knitting it for myself. It's in the colorway Salem by Surella Yarns, and I was knitting it and it was too big. And so I knew exactly who I could give it to. I had knit a pair of socks for my sister a little while ago. It was the String of Hearts pattern by Maddie, and so I had made it, and my sister has them. They're really comfortable, and her son loves to wear them because he just thinks they're really comfortable. So I thought this would be perfect for him. He has bigger feet than me, and it's a hand knit sock, so I hope he enjoys that. I'm going to give it to him for Christmas. And then the other finished object, I was in the middle of talking about when my media went away. So I made a really nice baby hat for my scheduler at work. She is due to have a baby. We've been talking about having a baby shower at work, and I just, like, I knew the date was coming up, but I didn't know exactly when. And then a couple weeks ago, I knew the date. I kept thinking, I have time, I have time. So the night before the baby shower, excuse me, the night before the baby shower, I all of a sudden remembered that I needed to knit something. I had been planning all along to do a baby sweater and booties and a hat and have them all matching. I was so excited. So I thought originally that I was going to make a sweater, and it's the last minute baby sweater pattern, and it starts going up from the back, widens for the sleeves, and then the sleeves kind of grow and it starts to narrow in for the neck, and I believe that is where I started to tell you about the rest of the sweater. Made it wider to have the sleeves, and then you start doing some decreases in the middle where like the neckline's going to be, and then you do one panel and the other panel, and then you kind of seam it up using the mattress stitch. I was going to do that, but I felt kind of pressured, and the last one I made, I didn't like the seaming, so I didn't really want to work that hard and then be frustrated with the finished result, especially if I'm trying to show off to somebody who doesn't really know me. So I made the basic newborn baby hat by Jennifer Jackson. I printed it in black and white so you can't see it very well. This was a variegated yarn that she used, and then this was a solid, and so it is super quick. It took me 2 hours, and that's with goofing off. And this held double. It is, oh shoot, I got rid of the band. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So this yarn is also from the same company. This is a purple yarn. Yeah, there you go. So this is by Juniper Moon Farm, and it is a cotton blend with a little bit of nylon. It's super soft, like baby soft. And so I have it in the pink colorway here. Sorry, I have a new lighting set up, so it's I don't know. It is definitely like a light pastel baby pink. And then I held it with this darker fuchsia pink to make a baby hat. I held it double, so it gave it a nice marbled look. I will put a photo in here so you can see it. She absolutely loved it, which is awesome. I think that's it for finished objects. We've not been finishing things. I have a couple hose. So I have the socks I'm never going to finish. This is a sock, basic vanilla sock, heel flap and gusset. And I was making it originally for the movie themed or actress themed group by Alana and Holly Beth in the Love and Stitches membership. And this color reminded me of Anna Kendrick's. Didn't finish it. Next month rolls around and it's what was it? I think it was Halloween. Oh, I actually hosted Disney Villains. And I was supposed to knit on this really nice yarn from Desert Vista Dye Works for Maleficent or Yzma. And so I turned this sock into Maleficent socks, thinking I would finish it. So I have one of them, and I have just the cuff on the second one. And then, yeah, see, just the cuff. Whoops. Just the cuff. Okay. And I've got this in my Halloween bag. This is by Nicole Stitches Designs. She doesn't do bags anymore. She just had a baby, and she is a writer at heart, and she did this nice, I think it was a video about how she wasn't going to make bags anymore because she just wasn't feeling it. It was starting to feel more like work rather than a passion. And then I have these stitch markers. This is my Butterbeer stitch marker, and this is my Harry Potter. So the other socks that are never going to get finished. I also have the Arne and Carlos Perfect Regia socks. They're kind of thicker than I wanted, so it's not as enjoyable to knit, but it does have, if you do vanilla knitting, it still has like this nice pattern. I have one done. The second one I think is maybe an inch beyond the cuff. And I just don't want to pick it up. I don't think I want to frog it. I might put it in hibernation and then work on it like at the beach or something. Time will tell. Spider socks. Oh, boogers. Where'd I put that? Okay. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so my spider socks are in this bag. This is another bag by Nicole Stitches Designs. I got it last year. It's my nice Christmas bag with Christmas houses, stockings, and reindeer. And I started these socks in October for the spooky sock along. And it is in the Slow and Mild colorway. I'll put it on the bottom here. It is one of the yarnables. So this is a free pattern on Ravelry called Spider Socks. So this is the first one that's done. It usually has like a couple baby spiders coming off, but I just didn't feel like wanting to do that. So once the pattern was done, that's where I started the heel, and it is a heel flap and gusset. And then I finished the toe. I made them slightly bigger than my size because they are going to be a gift knit, and it's for somebody who watches this podcast, so I will not say who it is. And ooh, that's a really good view of the actual color. And I'm doing pretty good on this second one here. So I have most of the spider. I've got its little fang things here. And then the front legs are coming off of it. So pretty soon, I think I have like 10 rows before I will start the heel flap and gusset. And those will definitely be done for Christmas. Winning. Hashtag winning. Okay, that's my thing sometimes when I'm feeling frustrated lately. I'm like, winning. It works. And then this is the yarn that I was going to make a hat for my husband who has a ginormous head. And I have not knit it in a couple years. Used to knit it every year. So I had it down to a science. Never made project notes. Don't know how many stitches. I do know that the hat pattern I typically use, he needs a lot more stitches than that, and I can't find that pattern. So I like kind of did it from memory and apparently over exaggerated how many stitches to cast on. And I had the whole brim done. It was probably like this tall starting here. Okay, so I was getting ready for decreases. I put it on his hat and it went, that's how big it was. So I frogged it. That's my frog item. And this is my start. Hasn't happened. It's gonna be December next week because today is Thanksgiving. And I thought if I did this today, because our dinner is on Saturday, maybe I can edit it and upload it while my life is a little mellow, and then my viewers during their turkey comas and a couple days off can maybe unwind with some yarn and um, enjoy it. So this is another hoe. This is my design. This is an easy 5-row repeat. It is the Pinstripe pattern socks. It's actually Pinstripe socks, excuse me. It is a heel flap and gusset. I have short feet, so it looks kind of funky. It's in this really nice colorway called All the Falls by Fiber Stash, which is actually my favorite dyer. And they are local in Vermont, so it's super exciting to support them. So this is the first one. I have a knit along that goes until November 30th, which is next week. And I will be choosing a few winners and posting the winners in December. And so I'm excited to do that. And it's not too late to join if you're a fast knitter. The ways that you can enter is using the hashtag Pinstripe Socks on Instagram, posting a picture or chatter in the chatter thread or finished object thread in the Ravelry group. The group's name is KnittaCass Creates Podcast Group. And this is my second sock. So it's a little ironic that this is my knit along, my pattern, and I'm kind of second pond water at it. So we'll see. If I knit like insanely this weekend, it'll be done because it's one of those patterns that just flies and it starts to feel intuitive. Okay. La la. Other whips. This one I'm really excited about, but also kind of frustrated. I wanted to make a cowl for my niece and nephew, and I wanted it to come down in like a kerchief way. And their mascot is the Rockets. So I found this really neat pattern. It is the ignition pattern, but it is for leggings, and it has this nice rocket on the side. I really enjoyed that. So I wanted to incorporate that on the neckerchief. And I did the neckerchief just intuitively, like I cast on 3 stitches and then I just kind of went outward and made sure I did purl at the beginning and end of each round on the right side so that it would give it a little bit of a finished border. Unfortunately, I think this was made for fingering yarn. This is like my thing, but I'm making it in worsted or DK or whatever, acrylic yarn, so it's like a whole nother beast. And so I have been improvising and boogers and changing the pattern, so it's gonna look something like this. And as you can tell, I've got all these junky notes on the side, and this is what it looks like so far. So that is the beginning of the rocket ship. This thing on the bottom that looks like a fleur-de-lis is the smoke coming out of the rocket ship. I'm a little worried about how tall it's going to be because this is Ouch. This is how it is right now. I did want it so it would be under the jacket. Probably be like this tall. And I know that like you can like bunch your cowls down, I guess. But I don't want to rip backward and start over. So, I mean, the worst that's going to happen is they don't wear it and they don't tell me. That's not the end of the world. And I still feel like I made something for them and spent time on it. And so my need to carry on, I think, will still be fulfilled. So this is for the niece. It is red and white, which is their colors. I am going to do blue as the base for my nephew. And then the rocket ship is going to be, see how there's like some red on it? That's going to be red. And the rocket, yeah. And the rocket ship's going to be white. So it'll have the red and white still. So there's that one. And by the time I get to the blue one, I'll have the rocket ship mastered. Oh, I should tell you who that pattern was by. It's called Ignition, and it is by Watsolok Designs. Okay. I also have my shawlography, which a lot of people are finished with, and that's okay. There's a lot of mixed feelings on this pattern. I was not a fan of the wedges, and the baubles I thought made it tacky. I'm at a point now where I'm kind of wondering like if all the crazy pieces really mesh. But when I'm seeing everybody's finished objects and it's all stretched out like on a fence or however they're doing it, it looks beautiful, and the wedges and the baubles are not as prominent. They're kind of subtle. So I am on clue 3. And I'm tangled, of course, because why not? Okay. So this is my shawlography. It is this way. See the wedges? They're these blue things right here. Not a fan. Baubles, bit tacky, and for some reason, some of them are looser than the others and some are tight. So I'm glad that it will detract from that piece and be subtle. Okay, so I am on the brioche section. I think I have one more brioche repeat to do. It is supposed to have color B as the prominent color in the front, but color A is my favorite and I don't think it had a lot of time, so I reversed the instructions. Well, it's pretty simple. I used B when it called for A and A when it called for B, so that this color would be in the front. And then there's these little twisty stitches that kind of look like these fancy little lace crosses, and then the border. And I hear the border takes forever, so I'm thinking this will sit until January, and I'm okay with that because I have advents and stuff, and I'd rather do non-pressure knitting. I think that brings me to acquisitions. So I got a couple really exciting acquisitions. So this is my Yarn Cafe Creations and Dragonhorn Yarn year 5 Harry Potter themed advent. It comes in these really cute packages with a number on them. There's a red, a white, let's see if I can do this without messing the order, and a silver. So that's pretty exciting. And unfortunately, when my post person came, they set it on, so it said it was delivered. I didn't see it in my mailbox. So I asked my in-laws and my sister-in-law, because we all live on the same strip, if it had landed in their mailbox. It didn't. I checked, I have like all these random places that sometimes the UPS will put it in. My son ordered a dog bed and they put it in the garage that's literally falling apart. So that was interesting. And we have like 3 different kind of porch landings or stairs. So depending on who delivers, it can be funky. Anyways, the bag was the box was demolished, totally falling apart. The yarn and the bags were soaked. I didn't know what to do. So I messaged Tristan of Dragonhorn Yarn and I said, like, what do I do? How do I dry it? Should I put it in the dryer in the bags? Because I didn't want to see the yarn. And she said, no, 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 absolutely don't do that. See if you can have a friend or family member what does she call it? Like unhank, and then hang it up somewhere to dry and then put it back in the bag. And she said it, it won't look as pretty presentation wise, but then it won't be spoiled. And my husband, God love him, would not do that. Like, he just would refuse. And not to be a jerk, but like that's just something that would drive him bananas. So I laid them all flat on my table for like 3 days. Halfway through, I switched it to the other side and they dried. So I'm excited about that. This is day 25. And I've had this basket that I want to put knitting projects in that I never use. I always forget about it. So I think that's a pretty cute presentation, if I do say so myself. And then I have wanted this for a few years now, ever since I started seeing it. This is the Cozy Knitters Advent. It is a self-striping skein, and the purpose is to open it up on December 1st and knit one whole stripe on each sock. You can do them one at a time, but I'm going to do two at a time each day until the end. And so I'm excited about that. I really want to open it and look. I am so impatient, and I've never had hers. It's so cute. No peeking. And then I got this. Crinkly, sorry. This is a collaboration between Heather and Hops. I think that's her name of like her company. And Corner of Craft. So they did a collaboration. They both like Dungeons and Dragons. In fact, the Corner of Craft does hand dyeing of Dungeon and Dragon inspired yarns. She also makes handmade knitted progress keepers, which are absolutely amazing. I have a lot of them. She's my favorite stitch marker person. Her and Lindsay of DK Servings are the favorites. So anyway, she did a collaboration. It's supposed to look like a D20 at the top, which is a dice and a Christmas tree. And this front page doesn't give it away, so it's okay to do that. And the goal of it is that you would start at the toe, cast on Christmas Eve, and then you have all this kind of vanilla knitting that you can do while you're hanging out with your friends and family, and you just want something simple while you're chatting. And then you can get to the complex part later when you're not having to be so social. So the pattern was by Heather and Hops, and the yarn is by the Corner of Craft. Her yarn company is called Chromatic Yarns. Let's see, where would be a good spot? You can kind of see it there. There, that's about as good as it's gonna get. So it's basically this really nice wintry cream base, and then it has like a really nice pastel subtle pinks and greens and a little speckle of blue. And then it comes with this really nice mini that's a very pastel wintry pink. There, that's kind of it, I think. So I'm really excited. I bought 2 of them. I gave one to my sister, and we're gonna cast on, not necessarily together, but both on Christmas Eve. And I am so excited to be knitting it with her. And I'm just in love with the pattern. Okay. That is it for affirmations. Shoulda, coulda, no, shoulda cast on already. Should have cast on already. SCOA or SCO. So I have the rose covered cage mitts again. I have had the yarn wound since last year. I haven't touched them at all. I think it would be a really nice present for my daughter. I don't know if I'm gonna get it done. Not sure. And I need to cast on a new winter hat for my husband before he divorces me, because he usually has it in October or the latest by his birthday, which was the 16th. So I'm being a really bad wife right now. And I'm knitting for other people. it's gonna be okay. So life stuff. I had some craziness in September with some personal things with my family. Things have settled. Some of it's still kind of tough. I just kind of tell people that we were buried under the shit and now we're just kind of swimming in the shit. And we're gonna be swimming in the shit for some while. And that's okay. It is what it is. We're getting the support we need. We're doing what we need to improve, and everything is going to take time. We have a puppy, which I have shared. She is getting huge. She's super adorable. She's a little silly. She's in love with this red wig that I wore for last year. It was Winnie or Winifred, either way, from Hocus Pocus, and she loves the wig. It's like one of her favorites, so have at it. And she has been giving us lots of cuddles. This has been a very rough week for me emotionally, which I'll get into in just a moment. And so one of the days I had cried a lot, and I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the couch with a blanket. It was a little chilly, and she kind of came up and like cuddled me, like almost like a human, like she was like hugging me, and we fell asleep together and we slept for a good long time. My sister, or excuse me, my daughter caught a photo of it, which is super sweet. So I'll put a photo in here. And then Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I don't know what day. It's been a rough week. I also was emotionally drained and freezing. It's been really cold here, and we refuse to turn our heat above 65, so there's some days where it's bitter cold. So I was under the blankets on my bed, watching some podcasts, knitting on my spider socks, and I fell asleep. And my cat Shadow, if you've ever been part of a knit group, you know who Shadow is. She is literally my shadow. Little side story, we got her when she was a few months old, and she was really nervous with the kids, didn't really like them. And so she would hide until the nighttime when they were in bed. And whenever she came out, she would kind of like follow on my heel. And so we named her Shadow. And she's kind of like my soulmate. Like if I was a witch, she'd be my familiar. And so she follows me everywhere. And she came up on my chest and we fell asleep. And my daughter also got a cute picture of that. But the amazing thing is that I was knitting, oh boogers, on spider socks. And I was kind of like this. So I have the sock split in two with markers. I was at this marker. What?
Are the girl sheep supposed to be with the big boys?
Yeah.
The big horses?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally fine. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to cut that out or not. If I didn't, I apologize. And my son wanted to make sure that the animals were in the right place. Okay, so I was right at the stitch marker, which means that I hadn't quite knit the next stitch, so it was in a fragile spot. And I was pinching it with my thumb and my finger when I fell asleep. And I was still holding it when they woke me up. And I never slipped it, never dropped it, never lost stitches, woke up exactly like this. So I think that's pretty awesome. I don't think I could duplicate that if I tried. Let's see. Okay, so we had COVID in the beginning of October. I'm not sure if I podcasted, but I know that I did Vlogtober, so you probably saw it then. Most of it was like a really bad cold. A couple of the days were kind of like body aches, fevers. Was kind of feeling like a zombie. But we've all recovered, and there's a lot of cases going around in this area. Not really sure, like per se, what's causing it, but nursing wise, I feel like it's pretty contained in terms of the elderly that I'm taking care of. And I haven't really talked to any of the nurses at the hospital, but I hope that everybody is well and that they recover well. And I hope that they have the milder form like we did. Kind of on that subject. So the reason this week has been so hard is that the federal government has mandated that any building who gets sourced by or paid by Medicaid or Medicare has to have every single employee vaccinated. They need to have the first shot by December 6th and the second one by January 4th. This has been very difficult news to absorb, and I have just finished my RN almost 2 years ago now. Got the dream job of my life. I'm working for home health, which I've always wanted to do. I'm seeing people get better. I'm doing a lot of the nursing education, which you can do to a certain amount in the nursing home, depending on if you're the rehab side. But typically, it's not as much as what I'm doing. Love my job, supportive atmosphere. However, and please don't come at me because this can be a very heated discussion. It can be really uncomfortable. And I'm not going to go into my reasons, but I'm not going to get the COVID vaccine and I'm not going to give it to my children either. There is some nursing pieces that make me hesitant, as well as some personal reasons. I do not condone hate or mistrust or throw shade at anybody who gets the vaccine. My philosophy is that whatever choice is right for you is the right choice for you. And I feel like it should be a choice. So, my last day of being a nurse for the time being will be next Friday. I have a lot of feelings about it. I've lost a lot of sleep about it. But the decision I'm making is a decision I feel strong enough about that that is the option I am taking. And I know that whatever happens financially, we'll make it work. And it is what it is right now. Hopefully, we'll be having a different conversation about this at some time in the future. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. It is what it is. So, with that being said, please, 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 I don't want a discussion. I don't want a debate. I don't want to talk about it. And I don't want you spreading negativity towards me. So, if you think strongly about my opinion, that's fine. Please keep it to yourself. Please don't load the comments down there. Please don't come at me. I'm not going to come at you. That's all I ask. Moving on. So, farm life. I have my two girls, my boy, Goliath, Alice, and Daisy. They're doing great. The girls have caught up on their weight gain. They're very healthy. We haven't had any issues. I was going to rent out Goliath to a breeder. And something changed in their atmosphere and they didn't need him anymore. So I was kind of bummed out about that because I'm trying to make a little bit of money from them since I dumped a lot of money in them, and they're now healthy enough that I think they can breed, or they can breed. So I went over this morning doing farm chores, and my females are in estrus again. This will be at least their second time. I have a hunch it's the third, but it's only the second I've noticed. So I will be putting them together tonight and seeing what happens from there. I'm not going to separate them anymore. And I have this really bad joke. So if you think I'm ridiculous, I'm sorry, but this is like Chevy Rell level at the moment. So I joked with my husband that Goliath was going to have some pie with us on Thanksgiving. Like he's also going to have some pie. So I hope that didn't offend you. But I'm excited about that. It's about 147 days, so rawly 5 months or so. So it'll be later in the spring, which is good. Vermont has some, really awful winters sometimes, and the spring can also be really cold. So I think this will work out. I think it was meant to be this way. I'm super excited about having baby sheep. Also, the big boys, that's what we call the big regular size horses. There is 3 of them. They're usually down in the field in like a separate pasture, and they hang out there pretty much all season until winter. And they are now up here with the other animals, and I have always been afraid of horses. I don't know why. Nothing bad ever happened to me. I used to go to the barn with my best friend from school named Katie, and she loved horses. She would what do they call that? Board her horses at a horse farm, do her horse lessons there, take care of her horse, do the stalls, yada yada. And so when she went, if I wanted to spend time with her on the weekend, I would go, I would do the stalls while she did the horse care and the horse riding, and then we could have more time to hang out together. Loved it. Loved the way it smells. Terrified of the horses. Didn't want anything to do with touching them or leading them, brushing them, like nothing. So, I don't mind the minis, but I'm terrified of the big boys. And they're up here and they get super excited when I go do barn chores because they're like, oh, I'm getting out of here. So they're like pushing on the gate and the doors. I have slowly acclimated to bringing them out into the pasture. But like with all animals, when you're the new person, they kind of have this like fuck you attitude and misbehave. So it took a few days to get them to listen. One of the days, I am on the side of the horse. They don't have a, I don't know what you call it, harness, for lack of a better word. So I can't lead them with that, and I can't put a lead on them. I know that you can gently use their mane. My mother-in-law cut them, like they're pretty short, so I couldn't do that. So I was on the side, kind of patting their side a little bit, like, come on, let's go, doing all that. And one of them wouldn't go, and so I like, excuse me, I know that if you like put a little bit of pressure and then help them like forward, I hope that makes sense. It's not abusive, so if you're like a horse ride person or someone who likes horses, I hope you know that I'm terrible at explaining things. So anyway, so I was doing that to get the horse to go, and it wasn't working. So I had this really brilliant, dumb idea that I pretend I have something in my hand. Now, mind you, when a horse bites, they have to finish before they can release. So I was like, come on, I got something in my hand, la 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 la. And he freaking bit me, and it hurt. And his name's Charlie. So I don't know if you've ever seen this video, but there's this little English or British boy, and his little brother bit him, and he's like, Charlie bit me, and it really, really hurt. So I've been doing that. But in the moment, I'm all by myself. And the pasture, because of all the rain, is a bit muddy. So I'm sinking in the mud with my boots and trying to get this horse to go. And he's white, okay? And all I could think of was the never-ending story when Atreyu and the horse are like tromping through this like nasty boggy mud. And I said to the horse, fuck you, Atreyu! By myself. And nobody got to see it. So I told my husband about it, and he just thinks I'm bananas, which is probably not wrong. Anyways, that's my crazy little funny story about farm life. I think that wraps this episode up, and I hope you enjoyed it. I do always do a spice of mental health. So my goal from my therapist, my homework assignment, is to schedule, like an appointment, self-care time. So on my calendar where I have all the activities that the kids are going to, and the times they're going, I need to purposely say at this specific time for 1 hour, at least. I mean, you can make it longer, like whatever's going to work for you. This is an appointment with me. Because if I don't do that, and I think this is just human nature, you put all your focus towards your kids or people you love and like making sure they go to their appointments. And then all the self-care things kind of, if you don't have time, don't happen. And then you just kind of, you don't have that time to relax and fill your cup. And so it can be really difficult to self-regulate and handle the stress. So, I want you to do this homework with you. Or with me, I want you to schedule, even if you only do it once, like it's good to do it every day, but even if you only do it once or a couple times a week, I want you to put it on your calendar like an appointment for yourself. So today, I'm going to be doing some knitting, and we have like a little tiny family dinner at 5. Won't be the big Thanksgiving dinner. And so I think a 7 to 8, I'm going to like put it on the calendar, time for me, and I'm going to either work on knitting or reading a book. Oh, I didn't go through books that I read. I'll do that next time because I don't have my notes and I'm a little scatterbrained today. Yeah. I also set up my Christmas village. I put it on top of the desk in this nice little high rise so that the dog doesn't get it this year. And I have these new little house lights that are going to help it look a little more like a village. And the train we put on last, kind of late in the season last year, and also the farm. So it'll be really nice to see everything all together right from the beginning and watch it the whole season through. Make an appointment with yourself, fill your cup. Happy knitting, happy Thanksgiving, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!